here's what I can say about this foreclosure and short sale market. Let's really talk about this. If you go back and you look at what really happened a year and a half ago, we had all the subprimes that came due.
Right.
Those people really couldn't get anything but a foreclosure because their values were down. You couldn't refinance them. They couldn't get any remodifications. And so they all went into foreclosure, and the banks have accepted these 8 or 10 million foreclosures. Now, those people are out of the buying market for 7 years, which is not a good thing for the housing market, but we'll address that in a minute. Let's talk about the banks. The banks did a couple of things. One is, if they had and they were inundated with so many, they've allowed people to live in some of these places for 18 months, sort of like rent-free.
Yeah. Some cases.
And basically they've said, look, we'll get to you, but in the meantime, better we have somebody in a property than that it's vacant.
Right.
The second thing is they're not going to flood the market. They have all this shadow inventory, and let me tell you why. They want to try to get back on the market. Here's the illusion we live under. Everybody thinks the banks own these properties. Well, if you know, for example, that there is $5 trillion in home mortgages out there, and let's say somebody like the Bank of America, which is the biggest lender, has $2.4 trillion of those, they only keep 7% on their books. The rest gets sold to investors. So the first thing is it's an illusion to think that the bank owns the loan.
Right.
They don't. They're the processor for the foreclosure. The person we have to go back to and who's interested is going to be the investor. And what do they want to do? Well, the investor doesn't want to flood the market. They don't want all this stuff going even down further in value. They're willing to wait it out. So number one, what they're doing, the banks, is they're putting on the very good cherry-picking Class A properties in areas where they can get multiple offers, all cash, 10-day close investors that are willing to come in and pay the price. And what these investors want is what they call current market value.
That's right.
Which isn't just the BPO, it isn't just the appraisal, it isn't what the listing agent says, it's software packages that they're looking at too, which is like 6 or 7 different software packages, including like a Zillow, and then the investor looks at all that, blends it all together and says, this is what we want. So number one, they're not going to flood the market. It's not in their best interest. The second thing is the investor and the banks that are holding all of this inventory in the shadow inventory, it doesn't matter whether they put it on the market or not, because the government says to them, any losses you have this year, we're going to let you go back 5 years and take it against all your profits. And so at the end of the day, they're whole. So they don't care whether they hold it, whether they sell it, whether they don't sell it, it's fine. So these illusions that people live under, that they're going to flood the market, is ridiculous. They're going to cherry pick and keep the inventory very low. The second thing I think that some people that walk into these market is they think because it says foreclosure and short sale, it's a red tag sale. It is not a red tag sale market. In fact, it's the all cash over list market. That's what you have to be willing to do. You have to be willing to go in there and produce. As is, 10-day close, cash. Basically, you're going to pay what it takes to get to current market value or above in a changing market with very low inventory. We think as it says foreclosure, we're going to go in and order $22.95 for that $250,000 property. Right. It is not that pocket of the market, so get over it. It's not going to happen. Now, what I think you're going to see increase is short sales. And the reason for that is the next group of people that are coming due with this loans and this lending are going to be the Alt-A market. These are a different borrower. They put some money down. Many of them have just paid interest. And so the government doesn't want them in foreclosure because it puts them out of the market for 7 years. So they're doing programs now where they're going to make these people with the bank sign what they call these short sale agreements, which means get them on the market, get them done faster. We'll give some incentives to the seller and the banks moving out and get these people back into the home ownership business. So you're going to see the short sale market probably triple in the next 18 months, and the government's going to be involved in getting these done more quickly. So the short sale market is going to be increased, foreclosures probably at the same pace, but that is not the dregs of the earth end of the market. Now, the next thing that we're seeing is this middle tier of the market. Now, let me talk about the middle tier. So if you're in the East Bay, it's probably anything from 400 to 800,000. If you're in the Mid-Peninsula on the northern side, it could be anything from 600 to 1,500,000. It depends where you are. But here's what's happening in that market. In that market, people are beginning to understand that interest rates are low. It's stabilizing. So it may go up 5 or 6% or down 5 or 6%. But what they're beginning to see is that it's time to get in because they're beginning to see that the interest is there, that multiple buyers are coming, and that it's their opportunity now to take advantage of this market. So I think the biggest thing there that buyers and sellers have to realize is sellers can't get too greedy because they see that they have a buyer pool coming back in. Look, it's just stabilizing.
You still have to be...
Don't muck the market.
Right.
If you're a buyer, what you have to begin to accept is as these prices go up in value, the appraisals have to try to follow suit. And in some cases, it's taking time for that to do that. So especially where there's multi-offers, they're beginning to think, wow, the appraisal may not come in where they have to put the price on the transaction, and that's something that they just have to decide they're willing to do by putting up more cash, etc., or being able to get into the market. So I think the middle tier of the market, if there's a difference from last year, it's begun to show some interest. So
Definitely.
we're beginning to see some interest in the middle tier.
We've actually seen that in our area, the Greater East Bay, since the... So the one question that I have for you, Carole, is we get a lot of comments from buyers right now that people that truly want to jump in the market, they see the value of an incredible interest rates, they see the value of prices that have declined, they really truly want to buy, but they feel like we're still going to plummet, and maybe I should wait till the market hits the bottom. What would you say to someone like that?
Well, let me just tell you, that's a
What
great
advice?
question.
Yeah.
Where are we at the bottom? It depends. Certain areas we are, certainly aren't. Some are declining, some are increasing. Some will never be out of it. If you go to maybe to Chicago or maybe Detroit, it's going to be a long, long time. Here's what I like to tell people. I have sort of a formula in my head. It may work, it may not. Anything that's gone down probably from 5 to 20% from the height of 2006, I think it's going back to 2002 pricing.
Okay.
So I think if they look at that and they see how close they are, they're probably close to the bottom. Anything that's gone down 20 to 50%, I think it's probably going back to 1997, 1998 pricing. So if you're working with these buyers, I would go back to 2006, look at the percentage decline, and then look at it versus where it was in 2002 or 1997, 1998, and they're close, because I think that's the formula. And I think the problem that people can't grab onto it now is we don't know and we don't have a formula. We don't have something they can hold on to and grab onto.
Right.
So I like to give them something they can grab onto. It could be close, it could be not close, but I think we're close. And I think that's a very good place to use as a foundation to judge.
Well, that's such a great idea, because that we've been actually giving the people that same sort of message,
Yes.
but a little different statistically. So I love that, because we went through the decline in the 90s.
Yes.
And I helped buyers buy homes in 95, 96,
Yes.
and at that same time with the same fears. And what we looked at is you're buying at the lower curve.
Yes.
You may be curving down a little more, you may be at the up curve, but you're at the lower end of the curve. So in 5 or 10 years, you're going to be delighted you bought at the low end
Yes, you
instead of the
are.
upper end of the curve.
Yes.
So it's all going to work out, but you have to get over the fear of, have I hit the exact bottom?
And you know what I like to tell
None of
people?
us know.
Real estate doesn't disappoint us. You know, if you look at real estate, if you go back and look over the last 30 years, 6 to 8% appreciation adjusted for inflation, highest here in the nation.
Right.
What we did is we changed how we bought real estate. That's what disappointed. We tried to make it a stock, and we tried to get in, not put any money down, day trade it, take all the cash out in the beginning, and then people wondered why there was nothing in the end. Well, real estate is this kind of an asset. You buy it, you've got to put some equity into it. You've got 3, 5, and 7-year cycles. That's how it pays you back. And if you do that, at the end of the day, you will be blessed, and it will give you a good payback. So I don't think real estate disappointed. It's people and what they tried to do with this asset called real estate that basically spun it 365 degrees and totally ruined how it worked, because it's not the same kind of an asset as stock. It's not easily and quickly bought and sold. It's a limited resource. It works differently. It takes time. And then we tried to spin it like everybody was spinning everything. Leverage stock, leverage the heck out of it, borrow against it, take cash out, spin it,
Double
go
your
buy
money in a
more,
year.
double your money. It doesn't work like that. It's not that kind of asset.
Right, exactly. I agree with you, and I think that that's such great advice for people. Real estate is a long-term purchase that you intend to own for many years, and the value over historic periods
is fine.
Will always be up, typically over historic,
Because it's a limited resource, we're not going to get any more land. We live in an area where there's more demand than supply. Valuable land here, because the value's all in the land. People aspire to live here. It will go up in value, but not if you want to day trade it like stock. Stock's different.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I mean, the message is so powerful, and and we know that you're here to help. For our clients in the future.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Awesome. So that's good. So thank you so much, Carole, for joining us. I know our clients and our community, they're looking for answers. They're looking for information from people that have knowledge and that can truly help us. So I know that those questions are so important in the answers that you gave us. So thank you so much. And if you have friends or neighbors or family that you need more information, call me. Pass this video on to your friends and family, and we look so forward to seeing you again soon.